The Week 17 New Year's Contest Bombs and Thursday Night Football edition of the Bottom Line Bombs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by SGPN's Ultimate New Year's Eve Party. Hop on Sports Gambling Podcast YouTube channel for a truly degen afternoon, complete with drafts, pick'ems, prizes, live sweats, and more. The fun starts at 12:30 Pacific time, the only good time, New Year's Eve. And with that, we will start the show with a theme song that I hit every time with a button, and we get going. Welcome to the Bottom Line Bombs. I am your host, CJ Sullivan, the man in the box. All right, here we are now, live at 12:30 Pacific on Thursday. We're back. We didn't do a recap show. I'll merge all that in there. First look at the ad reader. Welcome, Boston Capper. Giving me inside behind the scene tips. Thank you about ad reads. Also more C Generates coming in. Juke 72 says, "What's up, C Generates? You got a bomb as well." Yeah, the first look, Boston Capper. It's the way to go. Block it off. I'm not good with the putting up the visual walls as I read the ad reads. So that one's a good one. I can start off early. I'm like I said, I'm Malone here in the box, operating at Al Franken one-man camera style. Not realizing what I'm doing, but we're just plowing through. But welcome. This is the week in between Christmas and New Year's. I like this inertia week. It's a weird week. You have the Christmas holiday, then you have the New Year's holiday coming right up. Then you have this week in between where you kind of go to work. A lot of people take it off. You don't know where you are. You don't know what's going on. Who the hell am I? What have we become? Vacation? Who knows? Are we working? Kind of. Not really. JC from KC. What's up, C Generals? We'll get into you. So I'll recap. We got a lot to recap. And we have tonight's Thursday night football game. The Flacco Bowl, Jets and Browns. Flacco's revenge. We'll talk a little bit about that, but we have so much Christmas recap to do, too. We didn't even get into any of that stuff. I had a good Christmas. Everyone did too. Stayed in Los Angeles. Just like Thanksgiving. I love it. The only time to live in Los Angeles is during the holidays when everyone leaves. It's actually livable. You can do around, you can, drive to places. Me and Pix Dundee from the C Block, which will be coming up after the Bottom Line Bombs, the college experience, the weekend bombs show. Bombs Down Under. We caught a Loyola Marymount basketball game. I mean, listen, I was the third wheel with the pregnant lady Dundee. We had a good time. Saw the movie The Iron Claw with a bunch of wrestling fans and wrestling enthusiasts. I did not know the story going into it. I knew about I knew wrestling. I remember the triplets, and I didn't, spoiler alert, I didn't know all the brothers killed themselves. Merry Christmas, everybody. But it's a good movie. I didn't mind it. At least it did something. You know what I mean? We already got. Look at this. I'm already giving people jokes on here. I love to see Jenner's coming up with bits. Juke 72 my quote, "Not sure what I'm doing, but we're just plowing through," is what he said on his wedding night. Now, come on now. I need I need a slide whistle, some kind of fucking comedy. You know what? That's going to be my New Year's resolution. I will get a soundboard that's appropriate for my show, not just ripping off the Sean and Jacoby's and Kramer's and their soundboard. That's my New Year's resolution. That's a good New Year's resolution. It's just something that I should have done. That's what I've broken resolutions down to. Not really life improvements and things like that, because you never hold up to that. They last a week or two. You know why resolutions never hold? Because you're the one holding yourself to. That's why. That's why I always hate people who ask you what your resolution is. What the fuck do you care? No, I just want to know what I just want to know what you think is terrible about yourself. What do you think is your flaw? I want to know that, so I can hold it over you if I ever see you doing it. I'll shame you if I see you eating French fries or whatever the hell it is. So I'm just going to keep my resolutions to things that I should be doing normally, just in that, like something for my job, like getting my own soundboard. That would be one of them. Capper already tossing his prop in. I'll get to that game in a second here. Christmas. We'll say one thing about Christmas. There's a lot of games. There was a lot of games this Christmas, and I had a very small Christmas. It was me, my buddy Jeff, my sister. And that was basically it. It was still too many games. I can't imagine if I actually had real family responsibilities. 3 NFL was too much. 5 NBA. Slow down, NBA. 5 NBA games. What is this? Martin Luther King Day? Jesus. Some of us got goddamn gifts to open and fucking ducks to eat, or I don't know what people were eating. I had some prime. I had some beef. It was good. One gift I did get was a money plant, Chinese money plant, known as a palea, I believe, or I think that's a Latin name for it. My sister got me that. She's into all that kind of stuff, manifesting and all that bullshit. But anyway, got a money plant, Chinese money plant. I brought it down to the liquor store yesterday, true story, to buy a Powerball ticket and a scratch ticket and a $20 scratch ticket, and it hit. It hit for $50. Put the plant right on the counter. I'll post a picture of it. Actually, there's a picture of it in my Instagram story. If you look at my Instagram story, if you're following me on Instagram, which you should be doing, of course, at CJ Sullivan was taken. Bunch of underscores. It's scrolling if you're watching it. At CJ Sullivan underscore on X or Twitter. And also, let me get to this real quick before I get to the Flacco Bowl. And I love all my listeners. Thankful for all of them, of course. Here in the Bottom Line Bombs, a man in the box, the bet detective, sniffing out all the bad lines. Yes, that's a cocaine joke. But this is what I found out by mistake. A lot of people are listening to this podcast, this show later on the NFL network, on SGPN, or the SGPN main network, which is fine, which is great. Glad you're listening. But I want to remind all these people that I also have my own feed. The Bottom Line Bombs has its own show. So make sure you subscribe to that as well. That also helps me out because it doesn't matter where the numbers come from. But, after the football season is over, which is coming up pretty soon, my shows won't be on the NFL network anymore, but it'll still be on the Bottom Line Bombs. I continue on. I'm multiverse. I can do I hit a lot of golf bombs, to be honest with you. But that's what I'm trying to say. So make sure you subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs podcast as well. Let me get that out of the way up front. All right. Now let's get to the game. Let's get to this Thursday night game. The Jets and the Browns. And thank God. Let's celebrate, because this finally be the last time we have to deal with these effing New York Jets on TV. Have they been on TV? They've been on national TV more than games they've played this year. Good God. With these New York Jets. And I get it. We all know the story. They bought in, all the networks bought in, the Aaron Rodgers, the fucking ayahuasca, the darkness cave. And then we got off-season Rodgers, who's the most annoying Rodgers in the world. And then he gets hurt in the third play of the game. And now we have off-season Rodgers, and we have to deal with off-season Rodgers all year, and his Pat McAfee interviews and his IRs. And and we had to get sold as bill of goods with Zach Wilson and all this other bullshit that they didn't even like. They told us they didn't like him. Then they tried to say they did. Now you told us on the HBO show. On Hard Knocks, you're all like, oh, thank God it's not Zach Wilson anymore. Isn't that right, Zach? Thank God it's not last year. Remember you? You were terrible. Rodgers gets hurt. Never mind. We kind of need you. You're awful? Shit. Anyway, it'll be Trevor Siemian tonight. And it could have been Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was on his team, but no way. Absolutely not. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is going to let Joe Flacco be his backup. Not when he's got his buddy Tim Boyle or whoever the fuck it is, whoever gets his ayahuasca for him. Now Rodgers was going to be on. I like this story that came out with Rodgers. Like he was going to make this comeback, this bullshit anti-science comeback and play on Christmas Eve, but since they're not in the playoffs, they're not going to do it. It was never going to happen. And then there was this outcry that he was taking up a roster spot for this like third string fullback. And then he wasn't going to be on IR. And now he's still not on IR. And Aaron Rodgers had to come out. That wasn't my decision. I said, put me on IR, guys. I don't want anything. I don't want to be on TV at practice. Okay. Yeah, we don't buy it. Aaron Rodgers, you're a liar. You're a confirmed liar. You lie. You lied about your vaccine. You're immunized. I don't even, whatever. And I don't care. I agree with the decision, first of all. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be on the IR. I want him on TV at the game. I want him on the sidelines. I want him doing that shit. If it takes up a roster spot, too bad. This isn't Little League. The third string fullback, you're on the scout team. Why? Because you're not Aaron Rodgers in a cast. And we would much rather watch that. But for the coaches saying, it was just a net positive for us. Yeah. His rallying and smack talking with him. He's just the way he goes. You guys are in fear, terrified of him. But for Rodgers to say it's out of his hands is hilarious. Yeah, these decisions are over. There's no decisions happening at the Jets that are over your head. You run the entire organization. Except for Hess, maybe. I don't know. There's some conversation about it. I figured there'd be conversation about it. I hate when Rodgers fucking just some conversation. I asked to be put on IR because there was a conversation. Do you want to practice? And I said, no, I expect somebody getting cut. God forbid. You don't even know who these people are. You couldn't name 5 teammates' names. But, obviously I got overruled there. No, you did not get overruled. Who overruled you? Robert Saleh? None of these guys could possibly tell you what to do. He's not in a cast anymore. You're right. But I don't care. Put on a cast. I want to put on a neck brace. But you're right. Drug Monkey RX. Oh, man. Boston Capper says I got coming on his golf gambling show for a few bombs times this year. You goddamn right I will be, Boston Capper. Follow the golf gambling podcast with the Boston Capper and all the other ones while you're here. Drug Monkey says Sally's a nice guy, is not a head coach. I mean, it's just, I'm sure Saleh is a nice guy. Great. Good for him. It's just how much they lie to us. That's why I don't like about Robert Saleh. And I get it. And I'm sure, it's not his call. I mean, he's just like, he's just a puppet. But they ask him like, do you regret not having Joe Flacco on your team? Nope, not at all. Wouldn't change a thing. No, you wouldn't change a thing. Not one thing. Joe Flacco has thrown for more touchdowns the last 3 weeks than your entire team has in fucking a decade. I don't know why I cursed right there. I saw a stat. The Jets haven't had a quarterback throw for over 10 passing touchdowns like in a decade. Good Lord. But I get it. Yes, just say yes. Yes, I wish we had Joe Flacco. That who cares at this point? Zach Wilson doesn't care. Is Zach Wilson even on the team playing? He's not going to Cleveland. He shouldn't. But I mean, that's a good point. The O-line would be bad. It's not, but anyone would have been something decent, for God's sakes. Jacoby Brissett, anyway. Anyway, so here comes the Joe Flacco Bowl tonight. The line is now 7.5, and what's the total? 34? That's a low number. It keeps coming down. I like the over in this game. I know the Jets defense is great, but on the road, the Browns defense is also here's a little, not that the Jets are going to do anything to make them pay for it, but the Browns defense is not as good as this. Both defenses aren't as good as they're hyped up to be honest with you. The Jets have impressive numbers, but the main reason why, not the main reason, the Jets have a good defense. I'm not saying they don't, but they're not like the 2000 Ravens or something like that, because once teams have a 10-point lead on them, they don't do it. They're not going to fucking push the envelope at all. They're not going to do anything aggressive. Like, well, what's the point? Just don't give them the ball on the 5-yard line and we'll win. Anyway. A couple props I'm going to hit tonight. I like 7.5's a lot to lay with Cleveland. That's a different spot for them. So I want to avoid the line. I do like over 34 just for the hell of it. I think Flacco does throw the ball. I know a lot of quarterbacks don't throw it. His prop at 231.5, pretty low. And I get it because the Jets defense do keep quarterbacks under yards because there's no need, because you can run the ball on them, which is why I like Jerome Ford over 46.5 rushing yards. Let me bomb that real quick. Jerome Ford over 46.5. But let's go with the double revenge. Let's go Joe Flacco over 231, and let's go Elijah Moore. Huh? The old Jet net revenge game. 2.5 receptions for Elijah Moore. I targets around 5.5. Let's bang that out. Those are my 3 props. Flacco over 231, Eli Moore over 2.5 receptions, and Ford over 46.5 rushing yards. And there we go. You're right on it. Moore revenge game. And, obviously Sauce Gardner will get the Amari Cooper duties, so that should free up more. Really free up more. And he has been playing well since Flacco's been in there. All Brown receivers have. Njoku, of course, and Cooper. Amari Cooper with his NFL record-setting game last week on my bench for fantasy playoffs. That was fun. Anyway, that's not the point. All right, geez Louise, I really went off on there. Okay, let's get to let me break down. Let me tell you about the SGPN Ultimate New Year's Eve party first of all, which is a live stream party this Sunday over at YouTube.com/sportsgaming-podcast. Live pick'ems, live drafts, live sweats, and of course, prizes. This Sunday's New Year's Eve, NFL slate, 12:30 afternoon, the SGPN Ultimate New Year's Eve. That's pretty amazing. And of course, I have to tell you about Underdog. Underdog is fantasy gaming done right, or DFS, whatever you want to call it. I'm not good at this. I'm never good at this fucking Underdog read. It's Prize Picks daily fantasy sports made easy. All right. That's how it is simply. You go to prizepicks.com/SGPN, use code SGPN. What am I doing? Prize Picks or Underdog? Underdog. That's for other ones. Prize Picks is for NFL. Either one. Actually, I need to give out Underdog, I believe. Lights are going out. Oh my God. This is not how you read an ad, by the way. Use promo code SGPN. But you use it for the game tonight. You just do higher or lower. It's very easy. Like the one I just gave out. Give out Eli Moore over 2.5. Higher, not over, higher. Lawyers. They tell you that. Don't say over under with these sites because that's gambling. This is just competitive gaming. I don't know what that is. But use the code SGPN, you get $100 100% deposit matching up to $100. Eli Moore, higher than 2.5 receptions. Ford, higher than 46.5 rushing yards. Flacco, higher than 234.5 passing yards. And that will be that. Oh, my God. Look at the darkness coming out here. This is hilarious. This is weird. Now you get the Christmas lights. Ooh, I kind of like this. I'm looking at myself on the monitor. It's funny. JC from KC, did Sean not pay the electric bill? Everyone who's watching right now on YouTube, I appreciate you guys. I see Generous here, live commentary. You didn't see the lights did come dim down. You can still see the thumbnail. You see me in the darkness. It's funny because beforehand, the landlord was here with his electrician. The landlord is an Armenian gentleman. And if you know the California or Los Angeles area, you know that there are a lot of Armenian gentlemen. Oh, here we go. Lights back on. Here we go. They're fun people. So, like, yeah, last week they brought someone for the cable guy, or, you know, a plumber. It's his cousin. This week it was his electrician. It was his other cousin. You know, it's all family. None of them know what the hell they're doing. But they're always up for a good deal. That's why I like the Armenians. They're always up for a shiesty deal. So, and there we go. We got back on. There we go. Anyway, we're back. All right, let's get into the contest, Bobs. Oh, my own. Thank you, by the way, who are watching on YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and like it. Anyway, let's go through. All right, so we are in the Circa Million contest. We used the Circa Million point spreads that came out this morning. We were doing great. We were right on the cusp of getting the min cash. We still have 2 weeks to do it, but we had a setback last week. We were 23-7 the last 6 weeks going into last week. We were hot. By we, I mean me. Me personally. Just kidding. You guys are along for the ride too. Last week we went 2-3 though. That was brutal. That's the problem is with this contest, you can't afford a 2-3 week. You just can't do it. There's so many people you have to jump over. Like you have to hit such a high clip. It's a lot of pressure. But all right, we can still make the money though. We can still do it. Ronnie Pasco, welcome. Hit the bomb for you. Oh man, let's see. What games did we have that we lost? We won the Bears and we won the Chargers. Chargers almost pulled off that upset. And we lost Denver, KC, and Minnesota. Denver. Let's get into 2 of those games. Actually, all 3 of them. I'm going to go back to that's how dumb I am. I'm going to go back to the well on all 3 of those games that we lost. I like them all again this week. Denver, let's start off with that. That was the story of the day yesterday. We lost. They lost outright to the Patriots, which was a huge blow in the Circa Survivor. Took out half the field. There's only 4 left. If you're not tired of hearing about that, Jesus Christ, I am. Ad nauseum. Anyway, Russell Wilson got benched yesterday. That was kind of amazing. So, and it's not because they lost the game, and it's not because he's the worst quarterback. It was because of his contract. Pretty amazing. So they lost to New England. He was letting it Bronco ride. Let's ride. I guess after they beat the Chiefs at home, which is kind of hilarious. This is where so they're benching for the next 2 games because he'll be guaranteed. He's guaranteed his huge contract, and if he gets hurt, they can't cut him and no one else will get him. They have to pay him the full contract. So they're doing it to save some money. Like the only way to guarantee that he won't get hurt is for him not to play. And I guess they went up to him after they beat the Chiefs when he's probably the happiest he's ever been at Denver. Right in the locker room. Hey, Russ, great win, baby. Way to beat the Super Bowl champs. Anyway, we're going to need you to re-sign your contract because you actually do suck. We know you just beat Kansas City, but yeah, you're not good. You know, and we pay you like you're good. So you see the problem, you see the discrepancy we have here. You know what I mean? We pay you very well, like you're one of the very, very good quarterbacks in the NFL, and in fact, you're one of the very, very, well, I won't say bad, but painfully mediocre is what you are. You're a painfully mediocre quarterback, and we can get that anywhere. Hell, we got that right behind you. Jason Statham or whatever his name is. I don't know if he's an action star, whatever it is. We signed him in hopes of you being so terrible that we could just get rid of you, but you weren't. You're kind of mid, if you will, Russ, you know? You beat the Chiefs. Hey, great job. You beat the Chiefs. You also lost to Washington and the Patriots, obviously, just now. But you know what I mean? Well, yeah, that's the thing. So no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to give your money back. And in Russ's defense, I don't blame Russ at all. Like, fuck you. No, I'm not giving money. I'm not restructuring money. So who? So the CEO of Walmart can save $40 million? That's the thing. The guy who owns the Broncos owns Walmart. What? What do you give a shit? That's like 30 cents to you. $40 million. I just love benching someone after a big win. So now they play the Chargers this week. And that line has come down to 3.5. Is that right? Let me take a look. The contest lines came out. I'm using the Circa Million contest lines. Yeah, Denver minus 3.5. And it was 6.5. Now the Broncos do kind of actually do have a chance of being in the playoffs, but they don't really. Mathematically, they can. The Chargers do not. Now the Chargers had their bounce back game with their when they finally fired Staley, their coach. They hated him so much that they almost beat the Bills. They have Easton Stick. Let's not get it twisted. These Chargers are terrible. They're a terrible, terrible football team. Without Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, they might have the worst roster up and down in football. And even Austin Eckler. He can't, like I said, I mean, they put a great effort in that Buffalo game. They still didn't win. They could have. It's kind of a shame. Now they're going to Denver. And the stadium, this is not really a downgrade, losing Russell Wilson. This guy's good. But that's not even the point. The point is how bad the Chargers are. And you know how there's a coach bump? Like the Chargers got their coach bump and the Raiders got their coach bump when Pierce got in there because they hated their old coach. I think Denver might get a quarterback bump because they all don't like Russell Wilson because he's in that weird cult. He's like I said, like he's almost like this alien that they put down, like, you know, to try to relate to football players. Like he doesn't seem right. He posts like these videos with his wife that he looks like he's got a gun to his head. Like he doesn't, I don't know. And he's that throwback cult. I always say he's not like those hot, like sexual assault cults you see on Netflix nowadays. I'm talking about the wearing robes, handing out cyanide, mass suicide cults. That's the one Russell Wilson looks like he's in. You see his eyes, they're empty. Like he looks completely through you when he's like, let's ride and Bronco Nation. Like, what is he talking about? There were stories about players not going to his birthday party, like the weird shit. Apparently they don't like Russell Wilson. Nobody does. So I see a quarterback coming up for Denver. He's just a weird guy. And the Chargers, like I said, bad roster. Austin Eckler, I can't see him traveling out here for this. Everyone's gone. It's just him. There's no need for him to be playing. I think I said it last week. He's like when that final year of David Spade at Saturday Night Live when everyone left and he hung around because they like gave him some money. Like, here, hang around while we transition to the new cast. I'm like, Will Ferrell and everyone. But all his buddies like Farley and Spade left, and he's just there doing a weird Hollywood minute. Like, where the fuck did everyone go? That's what Austin Eckler's like. Like, what's going on? Who's throwing me to Easton Stick? What is this? Anyway, let's go to the weird quarterback bump. Denver Broncos. We're going to go back to the well at a nice, reasonable price at minus 3.5. That's our first bomb. Let's do it. Bomb it. The nut low personalities, Boston Capper. Juke says Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, is in fact limited. Apparently, there are limits to Russell Wilson. Grover says Wilson's part of the Heaven's Gate cult, but forgot to show up. I like those under the radar. Was the Heaven's Gate one Heaven's Gate was the mass suicide when they all had they were all wearing Nikes, right? I remember, speaking of Saturday Night Live, that was a funny Saturday Night Live skit where they had like the cops going into the room and all these Nikes and the sheets over, and they act like it was a Nike ad. That's back when Saturday Night Live had balls, baby. Anyway, yeah, he didn't like the Nikes. That's right. A great advertising. If I was Nike, I would have leaned into the Heaven's Gate cult. You know, it's like your final meal, your final shoe. You know. What you want a comfortable shoe as you take your own life and try to transform your spirit into a higher being that doesn't exist. So why don't you wrap your feet around perfectly made athletic shoes by 8-year-old Chinese kids? Anyway, all right, let's move on. Next, Bob. Let's go. What was our other loss here? We had KC. KC. They lost outright Christmas morning to the Raiders. Oh, my good God. It was hilarious when they lost. I mean, the Raiders. Well, I'll get into the Raiders a little bit, but Kansas City. Now they're blaming Taylor Swift, which is fun. I like it. How long was that going to take before they turned on Taylor Swift? At first, it was like, okay, we're getting annoyed by the coverage, but at least Kansas City was winning. The second Kansas City started losing and Kelsey's not playing well, they're going to blame Taylor Swift. That's what's going to happen. It's so funny because when they do it, and then like sports commentators and like hot takers, first of all, you have hot takers doing the hot take, and then you have the anti-hot takers. Like Tom Brady played with Giselle, the most famous supermodel in the world. He ran a dynasty. Okay, great. You're all fucking spewing bullshit. It doesn't matter. No, Taylor Swift's not Yoko, and that's not the reason why. And Kelsey's not getting old. He's not. Now, if you want to say Travis Kelce flying to Argentina during his bye week, so he could be at a concert with fucking 12-year-old girls as a distraction. Fine. All right, I'll buy into some of that. But it's certainly not Taylor Swift's fault. They've lost a couple games. Let me see. That's what people don't understand about. And that's why I hate when people and when that gets traction. So you have hot takes on Twitter and then people replying to the hot takes like, yes, okay, it's an easy slam dunk to retort to. This is what sports is. It's old men who hate everything, middle-aged men who hate everything. And that's what people don't understand. It's always hilarious to me. Man. Point is, what's fun about that Chiefs? And I had the Chiefs last week, but I did like watching them lose just because it was because of all those Andy Reid trick plays, and there's like it's in that one they try to hand it off and lateral it back from the 5-yard line, and the Raiders walk in for a touchdown, and then the Raiders Pierce crying enough is enough, and then like, oh my God, I can't blame. I don't know. Here's Ronnie Pasco says, it's about Russell Wilson. It's going to be a great youth pastor wearing a deep neck. And Juke72 says, how good is that arse when you're flying to freaking Argentina to get some action? My goodness. Well, it's Taylor Swift. Tell you what, he's not flying Southwest. I'll tell you that much. I like when they make fun. I like when they try to get on Taylor Swift for flying private jets. She's bad for the environment. Okay. How do you want Taylor Swift to fly around? She's one of the most famous people in the world. She's not getting business select on Southwest, okay? She's not getting A1 through 30 or logging in 24 hours in advance. But you know what? I bet she doesn't even do that now. I bet she doesn't do the 24 hours in advance for Southwest. She probably pays the extra $15 for early bird. She gets the early bird check-in, I bet. She can afford the early bird check-in. Anyway, we're going to go back to the well with I did see a clip of Travis Kelce's, he does that podcast with his brother, Jason Kelce, and I can't avoid it. It comes on your algorithm no matter what. You say, he's got to focus up, and he starts swearing a lot. Focus up. Just catch the ball, Travis. Just catch the ball. And they will catch the ball versus the Bengals. The Bengals give up the most points to a tight end. So if you do want, I am liking Travis Kelce props. I know this isn't a prop show. I'm giving out my contest bombs, but I will go with Kansas City. Kansas City will be fine. They will be fine. Although they do. It's funny watching them freak out because they've never lost before. And they smash helmets and they got the voices. And one of the funniest things on Twitter is when they show Patrick, the real audio of Patrick Mahomes. It's always an absurd frog voice, like, "Come on, I'm here all day." Anyway, I should have that clip ready to play. But anyway, let's give out Kansas City -7. Bomb it. Serial, welcome to the chat. Says, woo, in a Ric Flair voice. Speaking of Ric Flair, I read everyone's upset about that. I did see the Iron Claw, like I said in the beginning, where all the brothers killed themselves. And people are upset about the guy who did an impersonation of who played Ric Flair, which is a terrible impression, which you knew was going to happen. It wasn't an impression. You know, it was like an interpretation maybe, and trying to convince wrestling fans what an acting choice is in a cinematic dark film like this. Not the easiest thing. I know drunks can do a better Ric Flair. Yeah, we're not trying. He's not trying to do a Ric Flair impression. Obviously, he wasn't. But it doesn't ruin the movie. I mean, I guess it ruins if you're a huge fucking wrestling fan and an idiot. You can be a wrestling fan and not an idiot, or you can be a wrestling fan and an idiot. Which, anyway, love Ric Flair, and the reason why I kind of like the way this guy did a bad Ric Flair, because why would you want to do a Ric Flair impression when, first of all, everyone does do a Ric Flair impression, and two, you're never going to be better than Ric Flair, so why even try it? So I kind of like what he did there. And there's this one scene that's pretty funny. You just got to get the essence of it, you know? No, you don't do the fucking Ric Flair, because Ric Flair's Ric Flair. That's why. And you can't it's weird to do an impression of a guy who's still living. You know? So he just did an interpretation. Anyway, where was I? Oh man, this thing's I'm taking this is a long show. You know why? Because I didn't do my recap show. So I'm kind of combining it all in there. All right. So we gave out Denver -3.5, KC -7. Our third loss, which we had last week, was Minnesota +3 versus Detroit. They lost. Oh, what a game that was. Detroit. First of all, congratulations, Detroit, winning the division for the first time in 1,000 years, since fucking Barry Sanders, probably. It was a great game. In a game, Minnesota looked like they were going to come back and at least take the lead with 30 seconds to go, which would have covered the +3. Until Nick Mullins, who I had to play in fantasy in my playoffs, threw maybe the worst pass I've ever seen in my life. If you saw the game, Nick Mullins threw for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. The week before, he threw for like 380, 3 touchdowns, or whatever the hell it was. And then they're coming back. They're coming back for Detroit. They're down 6. They're driving. Justin Jefferson just made an incredible catch to keep the drive going. There's like 30 seconds to go. They're on the 30-yard line. Jefferson's running across the field, wide open in the end zone, and then Mullins throws his pass. If you haven't seen it, it goes out of his hand normal. When he steps up in the pocket clean. You're like, oh, this is gonna be great. Whatever it is. And then it starts flopping it starts spinning around sideways. Like it looked like there was a little fucking vortex in there. It looked like CGI. It looked like one of those fake commercials they used to run for like shoes. Like, oh, can you believe Peyton Manning's throwing the ball 200 yards? No, I can't, because it's not humanly possible. Can you believe can you believe Calvin Johnson caught a ball from a speed rack 10 times with one hit? No, again, not possible. This pass didn't look possible. You see it like, okay, did it get tipped? Did a bird hit it? Is there a skeet shooter in the audience? It was the worst duck you've ever seen, and it got picked off, and Jefferson just stopped. Like, what? What was that? It was such a bad pass that they're contemplating benching him this week, and he threw for 400 fucking yards. They're talking about Josh Dobbs, who just showed that he doesn't belong in the NFL after his fun Pasternak story. I mean, he belongs in the NFL, but, you know, he can't be a quarterback this year. Mullins, he throws some interceptions, but that's how bad this pass was. It just looked terrible. It's like, I don't care how good you are and that you're a best option. I can't ever see that in my eyes again. It's something I will never unsee. And it really is, especially if you had Minnesota like me. It's a pass you will never unsee. That's how bad it was. Capper, I agree. The Capper says that Mac Jones interception, the Europe game, was pretty bad. But that was like a feeble bad one. You know what I mean? That was the one he just threw in the end zone. Like, who are you throwing it to? This one was a ball where it looked like it would be fine. It's like, and then the ball itself stopped its direction and spun around and went right to the D-back. We were like, okay, he must have been hit. Was he hit while he threw it? Did a tornado come just through that jet stream of where the ball was? And no. Nope, that's just what happened. That's just how it came out of his hand. Anyway, they're thinking of benching Nick Mullins, which is insane because he's definitely their best chance of winning. And they're playing Green Bay at night at home -2. And I'm going to take the Vikings because I'm an idiot. But I think that pass was so bad that it affected the line. Packers. And oh my God, the Packers. What a hilarious story that is. See, that's the thing. They have a terrible secondary as it is. Carolina just scored 30 on them. And now they're taking their best players, Zaire Alexander. They're suspending him for the game. Why? Because he almost fucked up the coin toss. That's the true story that came out. Now, when I first heard that, I'm like, okay, that's a bit of a overreaction because it was the possibility that it could have affected him. He went out there and he go, all right, heads or tails. And he's like, 5. No, heads or tails, Zaire. Okay, red. No, heads or tails. All right, tails. You guys win. What do you want? Give us we want to kick it. What do you mean you want to kick it? We want our defense out there. Do you mean defer? You mean defer, right? Because if you choose to kick it, that means you choose to kick it both times. If you choose defense, that means you defense both times. Yeah, whatever. You figure out your dumb language. So the ref was at least understanding. He's like, listen, I talked to your coach beforehand. He told me if any of you idiots mix this up, this is what you guys want. So this is what you wanted to defer. Sure, let's do it. And they did. So there was no harm, no foul on that. But then you find out that he wasn't even a captain. He just went out there on his own. So I'm like, okay, that's pushing it a bit. I can see why you want to punish him a little bit. I still don't agree with suspending him for the game. Fine the guy, for Christ's sakes. Why would you hurt your team like that? Although he was trying to hurt. He did seem like he hurt the team. He was like a kid. He's like, well, I'm from Charlotte, which I love that too. I'm from Charlotte, so I should have been out there. The coach didn't know that. Players had my back though. And okay, do people give a shit who the captain is, who's flipping the coin? That's what I mean too. Like, I'm from Charlotte, so Charlotte's not watching. Charlotte's not even in their seats yet. Charlotte's barely going to the game. So now they suspend. So I do like him running out. I like him going out there on his own, as the fourth captain and jumping in there. We want defense. Who told you that? Nobody said that. Well, we want 5. Anyway. So they're suspended, and that's not a insignificant non-suspension too, by the way. He's the most important player they have in their already terrible secondary. So this is a shaky one. Hopefully, as Minnesota mullins over their quarterback dilemma, if they put in Hall, as Serial says, Hall rushing props ladder. I wouldn't mind that as well. They do have TJ Hawkinson out. Addison is a little banged up. Do you get KJ Osborne in there as well? He had a big game last week. Jefferson went off. KJ Osborne ladder, I'd look for something like that. But we're going to do it. Fuck it. Minnesota -2 for the season sweep. Bomb it. All right. Now I can finish off my reads with Hall of Fame bets. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put up the thing. I didn't do it last time. This is how you're supposed to do a professional ad read. Boston Capper. You can critique this. So you put this up there. Win bigger, By betting smarter, this NFL season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting and analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame bets. And we're back on the Bottom Line Bombs. I am your host, CJ Sullivan. We bomb it for you guys. Thanking everyone who is joining me here in the live YouTube stream, in the chat. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, even if you don't like me personally. Lie to me. It's a new year. We'll get to a man in a box segment after I give out the 2 more bombs for the 5 Circa contest bombs. Hopefully we'll get into money. We got 2 more weeks. If we go 10-0, we should get into money. No problem, right? 10-0? Hell, we've done it before. Like I said, we took a hit last week, 2-3. Can't afford a 2-3 week. But we were 23-7 before that, the last 6. Anyway, so that makes us what? 25-10. 25-10 the last 7 weeks. That's still pretty damn good. It's more than pretty damn good. All right, let's get to the 2 games we're going to get to right now. I mentioned the KC Raider game that we lost with KC, and we went back with KC. Now we're gonna fade these Raiders. Colts Raiders line is Indy -3.5. It was -3. I don't care. I'll lay it 3.5 with Indianapolis. I love the Colts in this spot. The Colts were playing good ball, and then they had a hiccup in Atlanta. It was a tough game in Atlanta, but they didn't look good. So now I think this line came small, and this is such a fade of the Raiders. Just had their Super Bowl. They won on Christmas Day in Kansas City. Daddy Antonio Pierce is crying. Enough is enough. Oh my God. And meanwhile, they completed 9 passes. They looked terrible. Look at the last 3 games they've played. I mean, they look terrible. They played at Kansas City. A win's a win. It was great. 2 defensive touchdowns. They didn't do anything on offense. They did not score an offensive touchdown. A couple weeks before that, they lost 3-0 to Minnesota. Shut out. Granted, they scored 63 in between that versus the Chargers, but that was obviously a bizarre game where the entire Charger team just quit on their coach and told them to play basically and said, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want to. Not saying I'm not taking anything away from it. Well, I am taking away from it, aren't I? That's a lie by me. Point is, you're right. Serial did say the Lions also under Super Bowl last week. It's true. I do like the Cowboys on Saturday night. I'm not putting them in a contest, but I do like Dallas to win and cover that game. And Ronnie Pasco, I saw you earlier asking me if I had college plays from Monday. I do, but they will be on the College Experience show, which is coming up after this with me and Picks Dundee. So stay tuned for that. And subscribe to them. So that's where you hear all these bowl game picks, which I'm hot in that game as well. But let's get to this Indy Raiders game. I tell you what I did like about that Raiders game. How about that story about the D-back? What's his name? Jack Jones. He had the pick 6 versus Mahomes. And then there was that video where he was going to show it to the kid. He was going to give the football to the Kansas City kid, the Chiefs fan kid, I should say. And then he took it away from him. And then that went viral. Everyone's like, this guy's the biggest jerk. He was going to give him a Christmas gift of a football. He stole it. And he took it from him. And then he had to come out and say, listen, it wasn't that. There was a guy behind him that was trying to reach over the kid and grab it. And I took it away from him, who actually was a Raiders fan. And then the mom of the kid put a ridiculous post on Facebook defending the player with... First of all, which makes me go back and forth. I'm all for the D-back. I wish the original story was true. I saw that video of him giving the ball to the kid and then taking it away from his hands, and I liked it. First of all, it's a rivalry. It's Raiders Chiefs. Fuck off, kid. Why are we bending over back? I know it's Christmas and these kids are First of all, he's sitting front row in Kansas City. This kid's doing fine. Let him learn some real lessons in life. The mom's post was absurd. The mom's post made me hate this kid even more. Not that I hate the kid, but just his whole style. That Why are we defending these kids? These kids need to learn how to cry and get disappointment. This is the post from the mom of the 11-year-old boy. When the Las Vegas Raiders' Jack Jones intercepted a Mahomes pass, first of all, that opening sentence. Here's the opening sentence. When the Las Vegas Raiders' Jack Jones intercepted a Mahomes pass for a pick six, Jones looked at the fans lining in the end zone and made eye contact with Logan. Oh, the kid's name is Logan. Oh, my God. Oh, Lord have mercy. Already, I hate Logan. Jones was grinning at him as he jogged up. He went out of his way to find a kid. As a mom, all I could do was smile. You forget about the rivalry. Already, you know, this post took her 3 days to come up with. The husband's involved. I'm sure there's a publicist involved. Who the fuck writes like this? As a mom, all I could do is smile. You forget about the rivalry in that moment. You forget about the Raider hater chants you grew up with. You even forget that your beloved Chiefs are losing. And your beloved Chiefs, go to hell, Logan's mom. Logan's mom, go to hell, says the man in the box. All right, it's a bit much. I apologize, Logan's mom, but I don't like this post at all. All you see is the moment through your kid's eyes. This is going to mean the world to him, and it would have. How long is this shit? This is not how you back it up. Just say, no, he was right. There was a guy behind us who was being a jerk. He fucking spilled his beer on me. I'm not even gonna fucking go through all this. Then she says the dude behind me. Now I think the dad definitely wrote this thing. The video circulated like wildfire. SI, ESPN, FanDuel, Fox News, Barstool Sports, the Kansas City. She didn't write all this shit. She doesn't know fucking what FanDuel is. I hope not. I would hate for my mom to know what FanDuel was. Literally hundreds of outlets, and some with the best clickbait headline of all time. Raiders Jack Jones goes full Grinch on child. I didn't see that. I saw this guy's an asshole, but that is a good headline. You don't see the Raiders player taunting the fans and the one who flipped off the crowd, which my 12-year-old daughter pointed out. Oh, your 12-year-old daughter, who is also sitting front row. Our $4,000 seats head Kansas City. Jones tried to give Logan the ball and pulled it back when the guy started swatting and cursing. Blah, blah, blah. It keeps on going. And to add insult to injury, the whole event spilled Logan's hot chocolate. I just got him. A special treat. Who spends $10 on hot chocolate? Hashtag Christmas all over him. Poor kid. No, Logan's not a poor kid. Logan is a very rich kid. Logan's sitting front row at the Kansas City game, and he got a free autographed Willie Gay jersey anyway because of the video. What I'm trying to say is let's normalize making children cry for our amusement. That's all I'm trying to say. It shouldn't be a bad thing when we make kids cry so we can laugh at them. It's what makes life worth it. It reminds me of that Matt Rife controversy. I don't know if you saw that. A lot of people love piling on Matt Rife right now because if his special wasn't good or something, which whatever. It's not for me. It's not my audience, but I don't pile on Matt Rife. Go get your money. Great. He's still a comic. Yes, you're not supposed to be handsome as a comic, blah, 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 whatever. Like, oh, he's alienating his fan base. No, women don't. The women aren't on Twitter angry that go to his shows. The women are there to have fun and fuck, and they're going to go to his shows no matter what. But there's this one like influencer, and she put up her kid to make fun of him. And obviously staged just like this post. And then he comes back like, yeah, your mom's an OnlyFans or some shit, whatever. And then there's a whole thing. You're attacking an 11-year-old kid. Yes, he is. Because that kid attacked him and fuck that kid. And fuck them. I mean, obviously fuck the mom for putting him up to it. That's all I'm trying to say. That's a long way for me to say we're taking the Indianapolis Colts minus 3.5. Very big letdowns. Ciro says 4K seats and a special treat is the $10 hot chocolate. Right. Special treat for Logan. Logan's mom has it, got it going on. That's correct. Yeah, Zach Wilson would. You get Zach Wilson in there. Help him. It was the old. We'll get in Logan's mom. Anyway. So far we've given out. What have we given out? We've given out Colts minus 3.5, Denver minus 3.5, Minnesota minus 2, KC minus 7. All favorites. What can go wrong? And finally, another awful huge. This one we're going for a huge favorite on this one. The last bomb, and then we'll get to the man in the box. Man, is this a long show? I should make this pretty quick because we're going long here. San Francisco, Washington. Line is, what is the line on this one? According to the contest, 13. That's a huge line of play on the road. Now, San Francisco just got their doors blown out by Baltimore in the game of the weekend. And everything that could went wrong could go wrong. It was so what's funny about that, now you have Washington, who's a disaster. But what's funny about they're switching to Jacoby Brissett. That's the only thing that scares me from taking San Francisco a little bit. Jacoby Brissett will put up maybe enough to backdoor this. I still don't think it will be enough. Although Ron Rivera, I love Ron Rivera. He's been fired since last year. He's been on like this 18-month lame duck tour. And he says I think they keep him around because he says the funniest shit every time for his reasoning. So they benched Sam Howell, who's supposedly the future, but he hasn't looked good. Every time Jacoby Brissett gets in there, they look reasonable. Like, oh, is this because of performance? No, not because of performance. Ron Rivera had the balls to say it's not because of performance. No, we just thought, he just take a good breath. Sam Howell just needs to take a breath. Take a breath. There's 2 games left. He can breathe all he wants in 10 days. Yeah, he needs a breath. And we also need a breath of saying, why the fuck did you throw that ball? All the breaths we take going, no! We also need to take that breath and give that to Jacoby Brissett. But let's go. That's not important. Let's go over to San Francisco. The Washington's defense is terrible. They just give 30 points to the Jets. 30 points to the Jets. Now, a lot of it was gifted with turnovers, but still. San Francisco, Brock Purdy was a $2 favorite to win the MVP before the game. And then he had a bad game. Granted, everyone saw it. And the problem with the MVP voting is the MVP voters, they only watch like 2 games. And it's whatever's on national TV. And they don't do any analysis. They just give it to whoever the quarterback is of the best team. That's it. So now they make Lamar Jackson the MVP. And he was 5-1 before that game. Even though he doesn't have MVP numbers. Who cares? Anyway, but that's how much they hated Brock Purdy. He was $2 favorite. Now he's 12-1 because he had a bad game. And he did have a bad game. We get it. He had 4 interceptions. It was not good. Understandable. But it was just a bad game. So what? Balls bounced away. He had some bad interceptions because no one ever believed. No one wanted to. It's like people could not wait to say, see, it's all the other people around him. It's Deebo Samuel. It's Trent Williams. It's Christian McCaffrey. I'll give you that. Christian McCaffrey. That's the thing. Shanahan's offense is a little overrated. It doesn't really do much without Christian McCaffrey. But you want to give the quarterback? Give the quarterback. I'm just saying it's kind of crazy how much they're knocking Brock Purdy. Micah Parsons took a shot at. See, I told you Brock Purdy sucks. They beat you 42-10. Yeah, I know, but I have a podcast. I need to do content. Micah Parsons' podcast, and I love Micah Parsons. Not just a great player. I just like how he just says his takes are always terrible. Like all his takes are the worst. So he's really getting himself ready for a post-football career. Keep doing it. I'm not saying to stop doing it, Micah Parsons, but it's just so funny how easily refutable they are. And they just lost. The Cowboys just lost to Miami. They got blown out by Brock Purdy, and he's out there. Yeah, I told you he sucks. Great. Okay. I mean, Serial, you're right. I'm not saying you can't get into the MVP semantics. None of these guys are the MVP, but that's what the MVP is. It's a lazy fucking voting of just for quarter. It's only for quarterbacks. That's why they do Offensive Player of the Year. No, I believe McCaffrey's the MVP. I think Tyreek Hill's the MVP. But they'll give it to Tua over Tyreek Hill. What happens if Miami beats Baltimore this week? Tua will be the favorite. And if you watch Tua's passes, they're terrible. But Purdy is not that bad. He really isn't. They can't get over the Mr. Irrelevant and his name, Brock Purdy, and his personality kind of sucks. And like, oh, well, he's always good. He's only good. We're in the front. It's not his fault they're in their front, that they're in front a lot. Yeah, they're up 14, up 21 a lot. And they also did come back. Now, it was funny watching Sam Darnold go in there because I know Kramer had a Sam Darnold MVP ticket. It looked like if Sam Darnold was the quarterback for this team, they'd be just fine too. I agree. Serial says the offense is the same as it was with Garoppolo. I don't agree with that, but you can't have Jimmy G out there. He's too distracting. He's too damn handsome. You put Jimmy G in a huddle, and the offensive line crumbles, the receivers, everyone crumbles around the handsomeness of Jimmy G. Brock Purdy is better than Jimmy G. I'm going to say that. Jimmy G is not good. Jimmy G comes from that old trite that we just promote people that are guys that are handsome to quarterback. Your Casey Clausens, your Brady Quinns. We don't care if you're good or not, but if you're handsome, we just think you should be a quarterback. You're the quarterback. That's what we've been taught. And that's what Garoppolo is. Although Garoppolo is better than those guys. Anyway, either way, the Niners are going to bounce back. They're going to get the 1 seed. They know now they have to win out. Washington's run. This is a bad spot for Washington and Jacoby Brissett and Ron Rivera. So this is going to be an absolute massacre. This is going to be like a 48-10 game. If Brissett was going against anyone but San Francisco's defense, I would love to back Washington here, but this is a Niner. It's so funny watching everyone piling on this Niners. And I hate the Niners. I'm an Eagle fan, but Niners are still the best team in football. They are. All right, Baltimore might be better. Fine. They're not playing Baltimore again this week. They're playing Washington. So give me the San Francisco minus 13. Bomb it. They're going to get smoked. Derek Turman, my Washington Commander insider, boots on the ground out there. They are. San Francisco's going to kill them. Now let's go to the box. And I do want to fade Baltimore, by the way. If Baltimore was playing anyone but Miami this week, I would like to take – I still might take Miami. I wanted the hook, but the contest line came out a straight 3, so I'm not going to do it. But if you can get 3.5, I like Miami. I think Miami might win that game outright too. Although I know I get Miami doesn't beat good teams, and they certainly don't down the road, but Baltimore loves losing games like this. I'll just say that. The way they're talking shit about too, the way they whatever. That's not the point. Let's talk New Year's Eve, everybody. First of all, thank you guys for commenting and coming in. Gave out the 5 contest bombs. I gave out tonight's props. If you missed that for Thursday night, I like Flacco over 231, Eli Moore over 2.5 receptions, and Ford over 46.5 rushing yards. And of course the 5 bombs. But it's New Year's Eve, like I said, coming up. New Year's Eve on Sunday. SGPN's having a New Year's Eve live streaming party starting at 12:30 Pacific on their YouTube channel. Go into that for prize picks and stuff like that. I have a show later on that night at the Improv. Here's the thing with New Year's Eve. As you get older, it gets much less important to you. It always disappoints New Year's Eve. First of all, there's too much pressure to have fun. There's too much anxiety. And if you're in a relationship, the women always want to go out. They want to go out. They don't want to have, no one wants to have fun on New Year's Eve. I mean, you do, obviously, but that's not even the main goal. The main goal is to have something going on that you can tell other people to do. That you did. And to have pictures and whatever the whole thing. That you show off your fun to other people's fun. It's not about the fun itself. Because you go out, New Year's Eve never is really fun.
You can't even go. Everything's obviously the number one thing. Everything's insanely expensive. You have to get a package, a dinner and a drink package. How about you go to your normal dive bar and all of a sudden like $120? $120 for what? That's New Year's Eve. So what? So that's crazy. I hate when you go to your normal bar and they got to do a package. Why? Because it's New Year's Eve. We just do packages. You get drunk. Champagne, first of all, very overrated. You got to do champagne toast. You ever try to get drunk just on champagne? Hey, when they start off with champagne, you get nauseous. You get a headache. You're vomiting. It's in your nose. Champagne only for women in flutes and in velvet dresses, and they laugh and bubble it up. That's the only way champagne should be drunk, in a tub with flower rose petals. Men don't drink champagne. I stand behind that. Champagne can be poured on people. You can pop champagne, but drinking, once you start drinking, like what is this? Alcoholic ginger ale? This is disgusting. Amateur hour. People do get fucked up. There's a lot of vomiting. And people do I will say that. People like, New Year's Eve's amateur hour. I'm staying in. It's amateur hour. Yeah, you know who says that? Alcoholics. Right. I know. I don't need a special day to fucking throw up on myself. I can do it on a Tuesday. All right, fine. But it's true. Watching New Year's Eve on TV is also. That's what I never said. So I watched it before. When we growing up, you're like, who the hell watches Dick Clark or whatever, Ryan Seacrest and all this shit? Then you get older, like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. Champagne and wine hangover is the fucking worst, Jukey. That's why you gotta mix it up with some liquors. The TV New Year's. Times Square. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Times Square for New Year's Eve. That's the mecca of New Year's Eve. The Times Square, the ball drops. 2024, the ball drops, and then you boo. I honestly couldn't think of a worse place in the world, let alone America, to be at on New Year's Eve than in Times Square. Times Square in general is awful. People in New York can tell you that. Nobody goes to Times Square. You know, it's very touristy. It used to be dirty and, you know, at least it had that element to it. It used to be, you know, hookers and drugs. Now it's just fucking M&M stores and tourists, and it's just, but it still blows, and it's still a little bit dangerous. And then New Year's Eve, they pack them in there. It's nuts to butts. You can't move. They don't let you drink in there because it's all on TV. You know, you think where you want to go to the bathroom? Good luck. Where are you going? They have Porta-John. Yeah, go find a Porta-John in Times Square. This is true. People wear diapers to that shit. You're not finding your friends when you get back. That's for sure. Good luck. Once you're gone, you're gone. Then you're going to kiss a stranger? Good luck doing that. Diapers and no drinks in Times Square. And it's freezing, by the way. Let's not forget the worst part about New Year's Eve. And anywhere else but LA. It is cold. So you want to slut up your dresses and look classy in your suits. You also have to wear shit that protects you from the cold because it's freezing. And you're going to be outside a lot. And Madon, don't talk to me about transportation. Uber, this company should be in jail. They surcharge like 15 times the rate. And I'm not saying LA is better. LA is also a terrible place to go on New Year's Eve. Usually it's at a house party. Anyone who's got a view, anyone who lives up in the hills, they're going to have a party because they want to show off their view. And going to a house party in the hills in LA is a fucking nightmare. You're going up these windy roads, these Mulholland drives, where these people, there's Dead Man's Cliff and shit, and you're trying to park. There's 100 cars trying to park on these fucking one-way, rocky goddamn mountain roads. You gonna take an Uber? Ubers are like, I don't know. The pin's telling me to go through this fucking to go where the Black Dahlia was murdered. They can't make a U-turn. Getting out of there, how are you going to get out of there? You can't. Now you're stuck up on a mountain. I'll just call an Uber. They're not coming. And if they're coming, they're charging you $1,000. This holiday needs to stop. I'll just say that. I had friends who suggested, let's take a scooter. Take a scooter up a hill? Are you crazy? An electric scooter? First of all, science will not allow me to go up an electric scooter up a mountain. And I'm not going to be that guy who's in a standstill, full rev and energy as everyone drives by and laughs and takes photos. Ronnie Pasco says he'll be at Applebee's with Logan's mom for New Year's Eve. Logan's mom. Got it going on, but I don't buy for I buy for a second. She wrote some of that post, and then the dad spliced it up with the details about Barstool and FanDuel, while she's saying stuff like, "And as a mother, my daughter put it out." Anyway, and then we'll all do resolutions that no one sets the tone, that no one holds us to. That'll be our New Year's Eve. And then we have New Year's Day bowl games. Oh, Jesus, God, I just saw the time of the show. In Philly, where I grew up, New Year's Day was a shit. Mummers Parade, which is like, think of the Rose Parade, but the opposite. It's not pretty. It's dirty. It's not clean. It's filthy. It's on the streets of Philadelphia. Everyone's fucking wrecked. There's string bands. And there's like grandmothers giving you weird brandy and whiskey to drink. That's a fun tradition. Anyway. Logan wrote the post. Logan wrote the post with his autographed jersey. That's right. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's Man in the Box. And the bottom line bombs. Oh boy, we're still doing it well. This was a long episode, but I didn't get one in before this, so thank you for sticking with me, everybody, all the degenerates in the chat room. Coming up next, I will be doing the college show with Picks Dundee, part of the C Block. Make sure you follow me on the Instagrams and whatnot. New Year's Eve, I will be doing a show at the Improv in Hollywood at 11:15. New Year's Eve shows on stand-up. They always suck, but I'll have fun with it. Dealing with drunk crowds. At least I won't be on stage at 12 when the clock happens. That's always the worst. Fun fact, one time I was at a New Year's Eve show in Everclear. I did stand up, and it was like one of those like multi-room things. It was weird. There was like a band playing in one room, and Everclear was like the headliner. The band Everclear, brother of father of mine with my big black boots and an old suitcase. That one. Whatever. They're fine. But it's so funny because they're playing a song, and next thing you know, 12 o'clock comes, and no matter what you are, no matter what you're doing, you have to stop what you're doing and count down, or people will flip their shit. So they're in the middle of, we can live beside the ocean. 10, 9, 8, Happy New Year. Rock inside, and right back into the song. It's even worse. With stand up, at least you're talking, so you can kind of change it. With music, the juxtaposition is fucking hilarious. Anyway, Happy New Year to everyone. Kiss a stranger. Go ahead. Make a kid cry. Whatever you got to do in 2024. I'll see you probably next Tuesday, because New Year's Day is Monday. These holidays are messing us up, but we'll do a full-on week. And make sure you subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs personal feed podcast on Spotify or iTunes, wherever pods are told, Apple, whatever it is. Not just from the main event, because this show's going to continue after the football season. Anyway, that's going to do it for this show. I need to stop talking as this thing keeps going longer, because then you're going to see a long running time and then people won't even play it. So goodbye.